listening to the Dynasty Overload podcast.
You know who not bomber class rampant? You know me? I am the original Dandana. You understand the road boy? I don't want to ramp with bomber class me. Come on.
Listening to the Dynasty Overload podcast.
What up? Hey guys, you're tuning in to the Dynasty Overload podcast. I'm your boy Razzman. I'm joined by my excellent co-host, Mr. D. Sheelor. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. Ready for an exciting episode. Good to connect with you. And I know I'm excited for our guest we got on here. I'm gonna let you go and do intros there as well.
Oh man, let me introduce this guy we got tonight. We got Mr. brand new to the hosting your own Dynasty Dynasty League, Mr. Dev. Listen,
What's
man.
happening?
Hey, this is a great guy. How you doing, brother?
Good. Thanks for having me. I'm excited. I'm ready to start this thing.
Hey, what's up, bro? Hey, listen, Dev is running a great Dynasty League. And listen, man, I know this was your first one that you ran, but listen, man, hey, plenty more. Listen, man, you're doing a great job, like I told you earlier. So, hey, man, let's get right into this thing. Hey, Mr. D. Sheelor, hit us with the breaking news.
Okay, so here we go, y'all. The breaking news of the day is none other than my guy, Mr. Austin Ekeler, has worked out a contract revision where he's getting an additional $1.75 million for the 2023 season from the Chargers. Now, as y'all know, the Chargers are a stingy organization. They're not trying to pay their money out anywhere. But what's cool is, all of your Austin Ekeler shares are now safe. That was a very, very scary time that we had where he requested a trade and we thought he can go somewhere because the truth be told, no one wants Austin Ekeler to move. He literally was the Dynasty RB1 in PPR formats last year. So I'm very excited for all of my Austin Ekeler shares that he's safe for this year. Might be time to, if you had him on the block, might want to hold on to him a little bit longer, a little bit tighter, because he might be able to lead you to another belt like he did me on multiple leagues last year. Shout out to Austin Ekeler with getting some more money in his pocket.
Good stuff. All right, so listen, and speaking on that, man, I actually gave you Ekeler in the league for way too low.
God bless you.
I know. And the Chargers are notorious for not wanting to negotiate contracts. So, hey, good on him. So I'm not sure what the numbers were, but good on him. And I was never really worried. I was never honestly worried that he was going anywhere because I didn't see where he was going. That was the only thing. I didn't see where he was going, and because of his size, I didn't think that another team would be jumping, to get a running back that size and just saying, hey, he's going to do the same thing in our system. I don't know. So I never really thought he was going anywhere. I thought it was a bigger chance that he was going to like sit out with all of the OTAs and stuff like that and maybe not be as productive. It's kind of where I was. But listen, guys, moving right along, we got a great show for you tonight. One thing that I forgot to mention in the beginning is please like and subscribe and share the podcast, get the word out. But listen, what we got for you tonight is our top 5 rising receivers, okay? And see, here at Dynasty Overload, we don't really share and compare notes. So we might have some of the same guys. We might be completely polar opposites. And you guys know we will fight it out if we have to. So whatever, listen, because I'm right and Sheila was wrong. You understand? And Dev, you're new to this, but I'm right and you're wrong before you say anything. All right. All right, listen. So Dev is the guest tonight. Listen, Dev, hit us with your number 1 rising receiver. Who do you got?
My number 1 is going to be Jordan Addison.
Okay. I like it.
I love the landing spot for him. Last year watching the Vikings, and it's hard for me to say that being a Detroit Lions fan. Last year watching the Vikings, seeing how KJ Osborne just exploded at the end of the season when Jair just totally locked Jefferson down. So having a wide receiver like Jordan Addison better than KJ. I think we all agree on that.
Mhm.
I think he's going to give. It's going to be a plus for both him and JJ. I think Justin Jefferson might lose targets actually.
Okay.
There's
big.
some tough takes.
Yeah. Hey, I like it.
Give
it one of those. Oh, thought I was giving one of those. There we go. I'm gonna get better with that.
It's hilarious.
Okay, Mr. Sheelor, who's your first?
Okay, so let's kind of walk through. I do like the Jordan Addison take as well.
I love it. I agree.
It's spot on, right? So definitely shout out to you, Dev. But the number one fastest rising receiver right now, the hype train was already out the station, but now it's at a point where it's gonna just go to infinity and beyond. Mr. Garrett Wilson of the New York Jets, the reigning rookie of the year at wide receiver. He did it last year with Zach Hide Your Mom Wilson at quarterback and a bunch of other bums. Now he gets one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, and Aaron Rodgers coming out and going to be throwing passes to him. They already have the chemistry and everything flowing. Think about how many more targets he's going to actually get now, because they're going to be able to rely and trust their quarterback. The reality was last year they were scared to throw the ball because they didn't know. Zach Wilson was an accident waiting to happen. He was a pick waiting to happen. And now you get one of the more efficient players, somebody that can actually do ball placement. And now you set up where you're going to actually have in your conference now a lot more shootouts with the Jets involved in it. Because guess what? They got a gunslinger as well. Imagine seeing the Jets versus now Josh Allen, seeing the Jets versus that dynamic Miami offense. The targets and everything else actually go up for Garrett Wilson. His stock is through the moon. And I saw this earlier, and I'm in full agreement with it. By the end of this year, you're going to now be able to add Garrett Wilson into that stratosphere, that rare air where Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase is able to actually live in. You're going to see Garrett Wilson in those same conversations. So if you can still buy him right now, go buy him.
Okay. Question for you. Garrett Wilson over under 1,250 yards.
Over. I think he goes for, because here's the thing. You got to think about the extra game being added, right? Okay. You also got to look at what all is going on. So if he's healthy for the full season, essentially what you're looking at there is, I would say 1,300 yards, 9 touchdowns. If you're seeing that and you see 90 catches, these are things that you're looking at. What have we always seen with Aaron Rodgers? He hones in on who his best receiver is.
You are right.
That's what he does. He'll force feed him if he has to. What else is cool is he actually has some people that he can trust around him, and Allen Lazard as well. And they do have a running game. But even with that, we saw him with the running game with Aaron Jones and Dillon kind of doing their thing in Green Bay. You still saw elite production from that number one wide receiver. You see it throughout the entire career that Aaron Rodgers knows how to get the ball to his top target. So like I said, y'all, Garrett Wilson to the moon. If you got somebody you can still buy them off of low, please do so right now. This is not a drill. Go get them. Okay. You're welcome.
Hey, listen, I love it. I love that take. I'm gonna go with mine. And I agree with that too. I do. I think you guys did an excellent job on your number ones. So my number one is not going to beat you. My number two is going to beat you. All right, cool. My number one is going to be Jerry Jeudy.
Okay.
Jerry Judy's rising up my board, and the reason for it is because I'm looking at him with the second year with Russell Wilson and that first year with Sean Payton. I believe what Denver's doing is basically identifying Jeudy as their one, and they're building everything else they're building around him, because we all thought coming into last year that, hey, Sutton was basically going to be the one and the touchdown, target and all this other stuff. But I honestly think that the offense at this point is going to be focused around Jeudy as the primary target and everybody else as supporting characters. And if that's the case, I think Denver's offense is going to be run really, really good. So I'm looking at Judy as basically at this point showing us that promise that he had coming out of college and basically, saying really filling those shoes. And because the guy was uber talented. So I think he walks in that. And the guy was still 23? I think he'd been in the league for like 3 years and just still 23. So, lots of room to grow. So that's my number one. We'll just do reverse order. So I'm gonna go with my number two because I know it's better than y'all's. But
So hold on. We're not gonna let you slide on this Jerry Judy take. Okay.
You can't knock.
No.
I want to hear about men.
This. So when
I
you
think I'm with Sheelor on this one.
When you say he's a riser, right?
Yes.
Okay.
He's going to outperform last year, and I think where you're
Okay.
buying him at in your startups, you're not buying him as a top 15 potential receiver.
Okay. So here's my reason for concern as we're kind of looking at Jerry Judy. Okay. Now, there's a guy by the name of Tim Patrick who's actually coming back. Okay. Now, hear me when I say this. Tim Patrick is known as the most consistent receiver on the roster. It was devastating for them that they actually lost him. Sean Payton runs an offense that, if you look at Russell Wilson, he's actually comparable to what you would have in a Drew Brees. That's kind of what you're kind of looking at in that regard. They also drafted a guy by the name of Marvin Mims with their first pick. They still have the aforementioned Cortland Sutton there. And if I remember correctly, Razzman, you're all in on a tight end by the name of Gopher.
Yeah.
So
he's the number 2 receiver.
Okay. So now let's walk through this thing. Now you have really about 5 different mouths to feed. And what happens when you have a lot of different mouths to feed is it's hard to actually figure out who you're going to feature. And what we do know about Jerry Judy is he's dealt with soft tissue injuries. He was literally injury plagued the entire year. There's a whole career before last year. We kind of put together what was a wide receiver, a low-end wide receiver 2 season. So I would say pump the brakes on that.
Low-end wide receiver 2?
He was a low-end wide receiver 2. He finished at wide receiver 22? That's a low-end wide receiver 2. So I think he's going to be right in that same mold there.
Okay.
Look at your rankings. He's right there. Wide receiver 22.
Listen. So, he's. What I say? I said top 15, right? I definitely think he can get that. Sheelor is freezing up because he's wrong.
All I know is I froze up, and then I came back, and all I heard was wrong.
Yeah,
and you. Tell you what.
That was life talking to you.
Technology has a way of just not letting
the glitch.
The
matrix glitch to tell you was wrong.
Yeah, some stuff just. But like I said, we'll see on Judy. But let's hear your wide receiver 2 because that one was very weak. Let's go ahead and go with the next one.
Whatever. Wide receiver 2, my second riser, Mr. Treylon Burks for the Tennessee Titans. That is my second guy. I'm getting him where I can get him at. I know he basically didn't do anything his rookie year, and that's fine. He showed you glimpses. He showed you what he could be. He had a bunch of soft tissue injuries, and he came in not being able to breathe and out of shape into training camp. It was a bad look from go. It was just terrible. But like I said, he showed you enough for you to feel like, all right, this guy can probably turn it into something. So this is my thing. Because I'm here, I'm on the ground. I'm at ground zero here with the Titans in Titans country. I saw Treylon Burks come to the press conference, and this guy was in shape and breathing, and he could actually finish practices, which was something he couldn't do last year. So, and if you follow Treylon Burks when he was at Arkansas, the guy, he would get out of shape every offseason, and he would try to play his way back into shape. And he was still, balling in the SEC. So this time, I think we're in a place where we could see prime Treylon Burks, And if you know anything about the Tennessee's roster, there's absolutely no one that he is competing with for I would say top targets or heavy targets. There's absolutely no one he's competing with as far as the wide receiver position. I think later on we might talk, some other positions around there, but as far as what he's doing, there's no one. The next guy is Nick Westbrook Akina, who plays opposite of him, somebody you've probably never heard of. So Traylon Burks to the moon.
Okay. I'm in agreement with you on the Traylon Burks piece because there is no one there. There is no competition for targets. And what I love about Tennessee is they are a run-centric team. When you see Big 22 back there, you're going to have to stack the box against them. And in order to stop him, that's what's going to mean. You're going to get one-on-ones with Traylon Burks, much the same way we saw A.J. Brown actually succeed in that particular role. So I'm all in on you on that. I have a ton of Traylon Burks shares. I'm happy that you weren't. I always found a way to snipe you in many leagues that we were actually in.
Not all the leagues.
Not all of
the
them,
leagues.
but many leagues.
And you're a big jerk for that too.
I mean, I'm just saying, I believe more than you believe, and it's okay. So shout out to you for that. You got sound effects. This is so cute. This is good. I like it. So great pick there. Let me go ahead and go with my number 2 riser. I'm going to go with the man by the name of DJ Moore, who's actually found his way to Chicago. Now, here's the thing. What's happened with DJ Moore's career? Let me just read this off to you guys because I think it's important to really go through a history lesson. Year 1, 2018, 788 yards, 55 receptions. Year 2, 1,175 yards, 87 receptions. Year 3, 1,193 yards, 66 receptions. Year 4, 1,157 yards, 93 receptions. Last year, 888, 63 receptions. Here's the thing. Justin Fields is going to be the best quarterback that he's ever had in his entire career. He had the ghost of Cam Newton. Last year he had PJ Tucker and Sam Darnold and all kinds of scrubs out there throwing the ball to him. So he's walking into a situation where literally they are following the Jalen Hurts blueprint, where they went ahead, they approved the offensive line. They actually got him an elite receiver out there. So now they're doing all of the different things to allow Justin Fields to really take that jump. And as Justin Fields takes that jump, guess what, y'all? DJ Moore is going to be a big part of him taking that jump. He's an elite route runner. He goes up and gets the ball. And he's going to actually be a target monster this year. So this is the thing. DJ Moore is definitely going to go ahead and have a top 15 wide receiver season. You're welcome in advance. And here's the thing. It's not even far a stretch. On average, the last 5 years, he's finished right around wide receiver 19. So I'm saying he's going up 4 slots. And I definitely see that with the target share. And what else is cool about him is he's always low on touchdowns. If he actually has the touchdown increase, you can see him going to a top 10. So just heads up on that. DJ Moore stock is up. Go buy him now. You're welcome.
Dev, are you going to do this or you want me to?
I'm not buying any wide receiver in Chicago. They had the lowest pass rating last year out of all the teams. I like Justin Fields from a fantasy point, but that's Justin Fields. I was buying DJ Moore when he was with Carolina, like before the rookie draft, knowing that, Carolina had the first pick. I was buying DJ Moore then because I do not like Fields in a passing stance personally.
Okay.
And then getting Roshan Johnson too. So I think they're going to be a run-first offense.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Who were the pass catchers that were catching balls from Justin Fields last year?
Darnell Mooney.
Okay.
Claypool. And who was the third one?
We don't know.
Cole Kmet was out there.
Cole Kmet.
They had one of the receivers from the Packers that was out there at one point,
and they had Montgomery, David Montgomery.
Okay, so let me ask you this: which one of those is better than DJ Moore?
Doesn't even matter.
None of them are better than him. You're welcome.
So let's talk. Let's talk. And listen. DJ Moore is not the most egregious thing you said. So for one, DJ Moore's there. I get it. You said that was Justin Fields was going to be his best quarterback. That's laughable. That's laughable. Let's talk QB numbers. Which one of those QBs that you named, including Cam and Sam, does he have better numbers at the QB position, throwing the ball?
So let's kind of walk through that.
Oh my God!
No, let's walk through it because if
because I'm talking numbers.
You want to do numbers? You ask the question.
Let's do it.
So if you ask the question, I want to give you an answer.
Give me an answer.
Let's go ahead and take a look.
Let's take a look.
Sam Darnold.
Because I know his numbers not better than Cam Newton's.
No. Let's walk through. We're talking about Cam's career numbers. We're not talking about. If you say Cam's career numbers, that's fine. But we all know Cam Newton has been a shell of himself for the last 3 seasons of him actually playing. Am I right or not right? Ever since he gradually
went down because of his shoulder injury.
Okay, cool. So he hasn't been Cam Newton since then. So we're not talking about overall career. We're talking about the version of Cam Newton that he had. And here's the thing: when he had Cam Newton, this is what he did: 1,175 yards, 87 receptions. 1,193 yards, 66 receptions.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is what you had with Cam Newton. So what I'm saying is not far-fetched about him as a receiver.
And hurt shoulder, Cam Newton was still better than Fields.
Okay, let's walk through this. So do you know a guy by the name of Trevor Lawrence?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's walk through this whole thing. So all the way from high school, all the way through college, these guys they were always interconnected. When you look at Justin Fields' ability and you look at what happened as far as when he got to Chicago, that team was a train wreck. If you watch Jalen Hurts' numbers jump from year 1 to year 2 as he actually went in, you'll see very similar as far as the trends and everything that are there. Everything is laid out. You increase the talent around players and you get better productivity. You saw the same thing with Jalen Hurts in Philadelphia. You saw him actually be just focusing on running. He actually had a 52% completion percentage. Justin Fields actually had a better year than what Jalen Hurts had before he just had to take off. So what I'm telling you is,
what are you talking about?
He had Hold
on. Touchdowns, interceptions.
No, let's walk through this thing.
Touchdown interceptions.
This is good.
Touchdown interceptions.
I was ready for this whole conversation.
Touchdowns to interceptions. Talk to me.
He knew it was coming with the DJ.
I'm ready for y'all. Y'all ready to have it? Let's have it.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay,
touchdowns, interceptions.
And then here we go.
Yeah, go ahead.
Jalen Hurts.
Because you walking the plank now.
Walk me right here. Let's do it. So Jalen Hurts, 2020, first year, 52%.
No. Don't talk first year because they both played incomplete years. Tell me they're 2 complete years.
Okay, so here we go. So Jalen Hurts, 2021, he has 16 touchdowns, 9 picks.
Amen. All right, now give me what the other guy did.
Okay, hold on. Let's go walk through it.
You got a guess behind
same things. Yeah, I do. I got my man back here. He having a moment right now. So I'm like, I gave him the stiff arm, but he still stayed up.
He all good.
So second year to second year. So what you had here is you had last year 11 picks, 17 touchdowns. What's the difference? We're talking about 1 more touchdown for Fields, 2 more picks.
Right.
So what are we talking about?
He trash.
No. Do you understand that you just made my point that it's almost an even comparison?
No, they're not.
He gets AJ Brown into the
They're not
room?
even, bro.
No.
They're not even.
Okay, 17 and 11, 16 and 9.
What were the numbers last year?
This is him going into year 3.
It was even worse.
This is him going into year 3. So we say we throw out what he said was we throw out year one because they're both incomplete seasons.
Yeah,
so
they're
we
both
do.
incomplete seasons.
So we look at the year two. The year two is even as far as that particular piece goes.
So no, because you left something out. What was the passing yards?
You asked me touchdowns.
Okay, no. So give me the passing yards too.
For the touchdown. Okay, so if we're going there, so okay.
No,
cool.
I'm just asking the questions.
So,
Go ahead.
2,200 yards for Justin Fields. 3,100 yards for Jalen Hurts. So
one guy can't throw.
One guy goes to an inferior organization that's focused on playing defense. The other goes to the class act that is the Philadelphia Eagles, who has won a Super Bowl, was in the Super Bowl this past year, that has a complete roster.
So
you can't compare those two organizations and say that they're on the same level playing field. Come on, dude.
You can't
That's
compare.
like comparing the Titans to the Texans the last few years. Are you serious? Do you want to do that? Do you want to?
Because we way better than the Texans.
They finished with the worst record in football, bro. That's the roster that he was on.
I got you. So check this out. That was going to be my next point. He don't even win games.
Okay. How can you win games with that roster? Okay, name me 3 people on the Bears defense. I'll wait.
I'll wait. So that year, right? Hold on. That year, though.
No, this past year. Name me 3 people on the Bears defense.
Because I would say that year I can name them.
No. This year right here. Name me 3 people on the Bears defense. I'm waiting.
No. Hold on. Let me just think about their
the fact that you have to
no, because I
we have to do it.
I can think about their secondary.
You got drops. Play the Jeopardy music.
Okay, I want to chime in on this one.
Go ahead.
I want to chime in.
Go ahead.
So you were just talking about.
I know some of the secondary. Go ahead.
The defense. They didn't have anybody on defense. So that means teams are going to score more. That means Justin Fields is going to have to pass more.
Not necessarily.
That is what that means.
You have to pass the ball.
He had garbage. He had more garbage time yards, garbage time rushing, playing hero ball that scores fantasy points, but doesn't do anything in real life than Justin Hurts had.
Are we talking fantasy points? Or are we talking real life? No, let's go ahead and navigate this because all this is about, and everything that we're looking at in every dynasty league I'm in, I'm concerned about fantasy points. So whether you're getting that on rushing or passing,
no, I agree. But the one thing, my complaint with Justin Fields has always been if he continues to not win games, he's not gonna be playing.
And if you don't put talent around quarterbacks, i.e., receiver talent, which is what I'm saying, you add an elite wide receiver. You add in another tight end. You create an offensive line infrastructure. They're going to have 3 new starters on the offensive line. They're going to have a new left tackle, a new right tackle. They rebuilt the whole offensive line.
We have to move on. And since I'm hosting, I'm going to take the last word.
Meet me in the street.
Since I'm hosting, I'm going to take the last word, and that's going to be that. Listen, when your boy Mac Jones was playing with the Patriots last year. And Zappy was playing with the Patriots last year. Zappy was getting more out of the offense than Jones was, same offense. Sometimes I'm just saying that it's the player, not just the offense. I'm not sitting here saying that his offense was great, but just sitting here saying that, man, Justin Fields just not getting the most out of the offense. It's just the truth of it. That's the truth to me. The other thing is I think that the Bears added a bunch of weapons, so there's a lot of competition too. But we can move on. Mr. Dev, who's your number 2? I know it's going to be way better than Sheelor's.
My number 2 is going to be another rookie. I'm buying every time I get the chance. It's JSN. Jackson Smith and Jigba. Okay. I'm buying I think he's going to be the number 1 wide receiver in that group. I think he's in this dynasty draft that I just ran, JSN was taken over DK Metcalf by Sheelor.
Thank y'all.
JSN is gonna be the number 1. I mean, yeah, they got Tyler Lockett, but he's 30 years old now?
31.
Yeah. JSN is gonna be my top. He got first round draft capital. Mm-hmm. And I think drafting Charbonnet actually helps JSN there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it helps Gino. But
Yeah,
I'm with
yeah.
you. I'm with you.
Eh,
First guy
eh,
off the board. I'm with you. I think the meter's up on him, and if you can get your hands on a JSN right now, I think that's a solid move.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah,
And if you can
and
buy that type, if you can buy a Garrett Wilson type of talent, you know, kind of where you're buying them at, woo, that's serious.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of JSN. I'm on the record. This whole Bijan thing got out of control. For me, this was always the JSN draft. And I think it makes a big difference when you're kind of looking at it. The wide receiver position is the one that literally you build your foundational fantasy teams around because they, one, last longer, they get hurt less. And the knock on him was, oh, yeah, he actually played with Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave. Well, to a man, Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave, when they ask who's the best wide receiver out of them, they say JSN. Now he walks into a situation in Seattle where now he has DK Metcalf and he has Tyler Lockett. Now, what's cool is they all have different actual skill sets that are really kind of prominent. What's cool about JSN is because he has elite route running ability and he has elite quickness as he's going inside and outside of cuts. Because of those two guys, they can literally line him up anywhere and he's going to be open. He's going to be that safety blanket. I look for him being a target monster immediately. And I think the fact that they're present there doesn't actually hurt. It only helps him.
Yeah, I think it's
So
gonna be fun.
Geno Smith has made a huge jump. I'm a big fan of Geno producing. So it's going to be on.
I look at JSN like a Debo Samuel type player. He can play anywhere, outside slot, running back. He can play anywhere.
Okay, I like it. Good stuff. Good stuff. And I agree. I think he's going to be good in that offense. So I completely agree. We were that was your number 2, wasn't it? Wasn't it, Dev?
Yeah.
Hey man, listen. So you are natural at this thing. You came on here. You're killing Sheelor. Hey, listen, no problem. Great job. Hey, hit us off with your. Hey, Sheelor, give us your number 3 because I know this one's going to not be so good. So who's your number 3? So to get it out the way.
Number 3 is going to be none other than Mr. George Pickens.
Okay.
George Pickens is in a unique situation. Pittsburgh has actually fixed some things in the offensive line. Kenny Pickett has a second year in the system. He has elite traits and elite ability. You saw him even from a freshman at Georgia come onto the scene and tear it up. He's actually going to be now 2 years removed from a major knee injury. He was already making highlight reel catches and everything last year. And what I love about him the most is he has that dog element to him. He and Mike Tomlin are on one accord. They actually support each other. And I think that's an amazing thing. And we do know that Pittsburgh is literally the place where you see wide receiver productivity go through the roof. If he continues to establish himself and continues to separate himself from Deontay Johnson, you're looking at somebody that definitely has wide receiver 2 locked in, but could slide into that low end wide receiver 1 category as he continues to develop with him and Kenny Pickett, that relationship. So I'm all in on George Pickens. Definitely somebody that you can get in the 5th or 6th round in your startup drafts. I think that's great draft capital for him, especially because of what he can do.
I like it. And you've been consistent with that too.
Every time I grab him.
And I like Pickens' take.
Yeah, and I think that the Kenny Pickett is coming up too, as far as like a quarterback. I think them progressing in that system is just going to be better, good for all of them, especially with Calvin Johnson coming back in that slot. I think if he can really do something, it'll open up Pickens even more. So I like it. I like it. What about you, Dev? Who's your number 3?
My number 3 is going to be Chris Olave.
Oh.
I think going from Andy Dalton to Derek Carr is a massive upgrade. And he's the same way. He can play in the slot. He can play outside. I think he's with Derek Carr as an upgrade. I think he's going to have a better season. He's one of my buy now candidates.
Okay.
So here's the thing. I like Olave. I think he's very talented. But the one thing that I would actually challenge you on is I don't know that Andy Dalton and Derek Carr there's much difference in terms of who they are as quarterbacks. I'm not sure about that. The other piece that I saw down the stretch last year was actually when Rashid actually stepped in the scene as a receiver, you kind of saw them kind of balance out as far as the target piece goes. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of like laying it out. So I think Olave is going to have a great season. I think he's a great player. I think there's definitely some opportunity there for him. But as we're kind of walking through, the big thing for me always when I'm looking at a jump is what's going to be the jump. The jump point for me for him can be very simply that he stays healthy the whole season.
Yeah.
If he stays healthy the whole season, then I think that's the piece that actually goes into it. But Derek Carr, career-wise, him and Andy Dalton are actually the same guy. When you look at the stats, they just are.
I'm gonna agree more with Dev on this.
Okay.
I think that Olave is gonna show himself as a true number one this year. So I'm gonna be a little bit more on leaning with Dev on this one. And then we'll go into mine. My number 3, especially for you, Sheelor, you should have probably been on this guy. But mine is Scary Terry, man. Listen, and the reason that I'm on Scary Terry right now is because, for one, I think that he actually, in a real sense, is going to be playing with the best quarterback that he's ever played with. I also think that offense is going to be the best offense just put together with Eric Bieniemy there. Then that's just going to be the best offense cohesively run that he's ever been in. And oftentimes, I don't know for what reason, but people just do not like Terry McLaurin. They look at him and wide receiver 1 just doesn't compute in their minds. They're just like, not him for whatever reason. But I think that Terry can do better than he even did last year. And with that being said, that puts him in. He's really challenging. He's really knocking on the door. I get that he's not your prototypical wide receiver 1, or he doesn't. You might say he doesn't look the part, but I do think that that we're sleeping on Terry McLaurin. I think that most of the drafts that I see, most startup drafts that I see him going in, he really goes too late. And I actually look for him. Usually I already have my receiver set by the time I'm going his way or his direction. But, man, I've been lucky a couple of times to be able to go ahead and grab Terry. But for some reason, we play with a lot of Commanders fans. I don't know. Those guys are like insects or cockroaches. It's just everywhere. It's hard to get rid of. But anyways, they've just infested the dynasty leagues for some reason. But, I guess they have nothing else to do. I cheer for that team. But regardless of all those things, I think Terry's a very good buy where you can get him at. And he's rising up my boards because I think he's going to outperform his performance last year. And I think that's going to be very, very big.
I think it's very hard for him to outperform his performance last year.
Why is that?
He finished as wide receiver 14 last year.
Mm-hmm.
So let's walk through this.
So he has a better quarterback this year.
I mean, you can
and a
say
more
that.
offensively minded.
You can say that, but we also saw Cooper Kupp be hurt last year. If Cooper Kupp is back, and we're seeing all these other guys that are emerging, I think you're in a situation where you're kind of seeing this thing where wide receiver 14, because we can go through this whole thing.
I'm just talking about his numbers, not necessarily his position. I'm talking about his numbers. So he's not the 14th wide receiver off the board. I don't even think he's the 20th receiver off the board.
Yeah, and that's my point. So my point is, if we're saying that these guys, like Garrett Wilson, finished below him last year, we all agree Garrett Wilson's going up, right? Okay. We like JSN. Yep. We all agree about those things.
But there's receivers that's going down too. Like
here's the thing.
Lockett is going down.
We also like Jahan Dotson.
Okay.
who's on the other side of Terry McLaurin, who missed games last year, who actually had 7 touchdowns last year.
Who's smaller?
He literally, I mean,
Dotson's smaller, right?
No, they're literally clones.
They're the same
When they
size?
drafted,
looks smaller.
listen, when they drafted, smaller receivers can be successful in our league.
I'm
We've
not
seen that
saying they
already.
can't. I'm just saying I thought
So-
he was a little smaller. That's all.
Doesn't matter if he's smaller or not. He's going to be on the other side of that guy. So when you have him on the other side of him, when they play together, Dotson was actually the guy they looked for more so in the red zone. So if they both playing,
Happenstance.
look at the touchdowns.
No,
Like,
I'm saying I
his
think that's
touchdown
just
is not-
happenstance. I don't think you can bank on that.
Okay, even if you can't bank on it, if you're seeing that you're going to have this guy on the other side, this team is coached by Ron Rivera. They're going to run the ball, and they're going to lean on their defense. So the game plan is not for Sam Howell to come out and throw the ball all over the yard. Their game plan is to actually lean on that defense, which they invested heavily in the secondary in the draft, and to go ahead and run the ball because that's what they believe in doing. And if you're going to be passing the ball, you're passing it to Terry. You're going to be passing. I'm back.
Yeah, you're back.
Okay,
Listen,
cool.
You know that happens every time you're wrong for some reason.
No, I mean, I'm just saying, like, I agree with the ADP thing, right?
Mhm.
ADP, he's going like the 7th round.
So he's going to outperform his ADP. Is what you're saying?
I don't even agree with that.
You
I
don't?
don't agree that he's going to outperform his ADP.
But
I
listen,
think he had a
that's the
career
craziest
year
thing.
last year. I think
That's
he had a career year
How
last
many years? How many years he been in the league?
He's been in the league, what, 4 years now? He had a career year last
Yeah, I think 4 years.
He had a career year last year. And I think it's not because he's not good as a receiver, right? It's because of all the different other factors that are going in. The offense is still going to be more focused in on running the ball. He does have another receiver that's emerging on the other side that has a similar skill set. And we see the return of receivers that we know are elite that are going to actually drop him down as we're kind of walking through this. So for me, at 14, Cooper Kupp goes up. Garrett Wilson goes up. Right? So Terry's going to go up too? No, he's not.
So this is what I'm going to say. I'm gonna read you all Terry because Commanders fans don't believe you guys don't even deserve Terry McLaurin. But anyways, I'm gonna read you off his numbers.
Poor Titans fan.
191 rookie year, 223 sophomore, 213 your junior year, and 229 this last year. The guy is a model of consistency with terrible quarterback play there with the Commanders. I believe that, with better quarterback play, this guy can get up to 250 points. Easy. 260 points. I definitely think that can happen. And if that happens, I think he's outplaying where he's being taken at. So, yeah, he's a riser for me.
Okay.
What say you, Mr. Deb?
I like that take. Terry McLaurin from a dynasty view, I'm probably passing on.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to. I'm not much of a win right now. I'll take the younger guys. Like my next guy I'll take him all day over Terry.
Give us your next guy.
My next guy is going to be Drake London.
Okay.
I'm going to take Drake London over Terry. The quarterback situation in Sam Howell is better. And we haven't really seen a true Desmond Ridder yet. We don't even know if he's going to be the quarterback for 5+ years. We don't know. But I'm taking Drake London now in hopes it's not going to happen this year. I'm taking him now, though, so that way when it does come, he has, and I don't know what your guys' take is on Drake London, but I look at Drake London like Jalen Waddle, Garrett Wilson. If he has the quarterback to do it, his catch in traffic is ridiculous. His separation is amazing. And he's, 23, 24?
He's actually, I want to say 21, 22.
Is he that young?
I'm a big Drake London fan. We had a lot of back and forth last year because people really doubted his ability to separate and everything else. The big thing now is the Bijan Robinson effect.
Yeah.
With Bijan coming over there.
And that's why he's at number 4 instead of number 1 is their run. They want to run the ball. That's all they want to do is run. But going from, I think Desmond Ridder is an upgrade over Marcus Mariota.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not even close. It's a huge upgrade. You can see that they actually made some connections later on in the season. So, that's always a big thing as you're kind of watching that. But then the biggest thing is we've seen this blueprint before. Arthur Smith is actually from the Titans, right? So we saw this whole thing where you can see elite productivity coming off of having that elite back. So I'm excited for him. I think he's definitely going to have a great season. And another reason why I don't believe that Terry McLaurin is going to actually finish higher than wide receiver 14. Because I think Drake London should be a target monster over there, especially where the box being loaded now for Bijan.
I made a mistake in one league, and this was like my 3rd league I'm in. I'm in like 15 now.
There you go. Welcome.
So the 3rd league I was in, I was buying way too high, but I got the Drake London and Chris Olave back to back right there at the turn, and I bought way too high for it. You know, over the past month that I've learned how to do, a draft properly. And I don't even think I'm there exactly yet, but I'm just in love with that roster, having Drake London and Chris Olave. Yeah,
I think it's a great combo as you're kind of looking at it. I think ultimately when you have those guys in there, especially those young studs, like that's how you build your teams as you're going forward, because there's going to be consistency there. There's a path for them to be successful. And again, young, dominant wide receiver ones are how you build strong, long-lasting dynasty teams.
Right.
I mean, because they're not even in their peak yet.
I'm all in for buying, 27-year-old wide receivers like Chris Godwin or Terry McLaurin. But if I can take a younger asset that has potential to be better, I'll wait the 2 years. I'll wait the 2 years and make sure I have him.
Mm-hmm. Those are great cornerstones to have on your team. I mean, listen, last year's receiver draft was just amazing. It was just, and it's not going to be repeated. I don't see it being repeated anytime soon. Mm-mm. So it's just like it's an outlier. All right. Hey, Sheelor, did you give us your 4th?
So 4th person for me is actually the opposite of you. And that will be Mr. Jahan Dotson.
I knew you was going to do that too. Go ahead.
And the reason why is very simple. As we're looking at Dynasty, right? Dev, you made the exact point. Terry's 27, Jahan's 23. When I'm looking at this thing, I'm going to take the 23-year-old every single time as we're going forward. Jahan literally has the same skill set as Terry, but he has more go up and get it actually at the point of attack for the ball. Despite actually being a smaller receiver, the quarterback's everywhere. You see it on this Penn State tape. It jumps off that this guy is phenomenal at high pointing the ball and actually coming down with it. So you saw flashes of that in year 1. If he's actually be healthy for the full season, I think you literally see him and Terry both go over 1,000 yards this season. Terry probably still get more targets, but Dotson's more the big play guy. So I'm buying him wherever I can. He's somebody that I want to actually have in my flex spot. 7 touchdowns last year as a rookie, despite missing 4 games. So I'm very excited for the future for Jahan Dotson.
Terry is a young 27. I want to say that. Put that out there.
What does that even mean?
It means he didn't get to the NFL until he was 80.
So it took him long. Actually
different.
So he was a late
different circumstances. different circumstances. Hey, listen.
I'm gonna leave you alone today.
You better leave senior citizens alone. You got what's that? What's that phobia against old people? You got that. All right. So I'm gonna go with my next one. Juju. Juju Smith-Schuster. He's rising up my board because I believe. Listen, I'm buying this guy so late. He's been taken completely off people's boards, and that's fine with me. But I'm like, hey, look at that Patriots roster and find a better receiver. Not only that, but I know with the coach there, they're trying to get the offense moving. They want to do some different things. They want to move the ball. So yeah, listen, Juju all day, especially where you're buying him at. Yeah, he's definitely rising up for me. Juju gets 200 points in your fantasy leagues this year, and you're buying him in like the 14th round. It's amazing.
I actually traded up with this league that I'm running. I actually traded with you to get Juju, and I think it was
late, super late. And I was surprised that I was like, I said, Dev smart. I was like, when did Dev get so smart?
It's the 15 leagues that I drafted in.
No.
The first league I drafted with you in was the FFL Dynasty with T. McKinney. And I had no clue what I was doing from a dynasty point. I mean, you've seen I knew what I was doing to a certain extent, like with that JJ trade.
Yeah.
But I honestly had no clue. I was kind of just winging it.
It was funny because you traded, man, listen, somehow you was able to talk the guys that I couldn't talk into trading. And then you traded up into that 5 and 6 spots. No, you traded up to that 6-7 spot. And it was so crazy because the guy at 5 didn't want to move. The guy at 4 was in a different country and was acting crazy. But the guy at 4 had a trade with somebody. I'm not sure if it was you. Yeah, it was you. And he just, for some reason, he had this locked on, hey, I'll only trade with Dev thing. And I was like,
yeah,
where did this guy get, we were offering him better trades. And he was like, I'll only trade with Dev. No one else sent me offers. I was like, what is going on?
Yeah, that was Meals.
Yeah. And I was like, what did Dev say to this guy? I was like, but somehow you are a likable person.
I had a good deal with him, and everybody threw a fit about it. Like, yeah, a good deal to me is
because he wouldn't talk to anybody else. He wouldn't he literally wouldn't talk to us.
No, and then like he wouldn't get back with me. So I traded with somebody else, and then he got back with me, and now I'm trying to get Chris Ole from him, and he won't even budge on him. Like, I had it set to where I got my guy. He got what he wanted. I got what I wanted. I wanted him. And everybody threw a fit about it, and it ended up getting vetoed.
So this is what's funny, guys, is, fantasy, listen, we're all men. You can look on here and see a bunch of, real men here. But, man, listen, sometimes it gets emotional. And, listen, Dev got so mad at me. Because of his guy JSN. So Dev wanted JSN, and I'm like, listen, I wanted Gibbs. So I truly wanted like Gibbs or somebody else. I was trying to get running backs. So I was trying to get up. And I ended up getting into the 5th somehow. And this is like Dev did all his work to get in 6 and the 7. Ended up getting to the 5th. And honestly, so the thing was, I'm trying to play, like, I'm not playing a game with Dev, but I'm trying to put doubt in his mind, so maybe he'll move off one of these 6 or 7s. So I'm like, I'm definitely taking JSN here, right? But my plan the whole time was to take Gibbs. Listen, Dev got so mad. Dev didn't talk to me for like 2 weeks. I was like, Dev, come back. But it's like, ultimately we are competitors. So it's like, so it's that little thing of competition. And I was just like, man, I really hated it. I was like, man, I really hated that I rubbed Dev the wrong way here. I didn't mean to. I was just, trying to be competitive. But I would have, had it been, like, it was just like where it was. Because even you had told me, you said, hey, if Gibbs makes it here, he was like, I'm grabbing him. And I'm like, yeah, I respect that. I can't be at 8 and be like, hey man, you know I want Gibbs and let him slide through. Like it was just too much value. So I felt like that with JSN. It's like it's too much value. Just let him slide through. But the other thing is, I really just wanted to talk you into either giving me 6 or 7, so I could have got my plan to get Gibbs and Charbonnet. I'm not even sure if I ended up with both of them or not.
Yeah, you were telling me that you were trying to get up ahead of Sheelor, so he didn't take your guy Zach Charbonnet.
True, which is true.
And I was like, after you moved up to 5, I knew you weren't taking Charbonnet at 5. I had 6 and 7. I'm like, fine, Charbonnet's coming to me now.
Oh yeah, you know what?
Don't worry about me, guys.
Then you traded traded out. But you know what? But you have to do that though.
Yeah,
you literally have to know, especially if you drafted with somebody long enough. You have to kind of know. All right, this guy has a tendency to do this. If I want X player, I'm gonna either have to take him now or whatever. And Sheelor, speaking of Sheelor, if I told you this is supposed to be my buddy here, I told you how many times he's traded right in front of me to take a guy, and I mean listen, I don't take it personal, but he's notorious for trading right in front of me. I'm like, bro, trade in front of the other guys.
I get T. McKinney on that all the time now with Alexander Madison. He gets so pissed.
You got to do it, man. I mean, it's just we talk a lot, so I know what you're thinking.
It's respect, but it's also like you're looking at that guy come to you like, oh man, he's close now. Sheelor gets right there, and you're like, bruh. And I know he's gonna take him
every time,
and I have to go change my plans.
Yeah, it's okay. Just keep guys. And I would say this, and we gotta make sure we get through our 5th guy.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Okay, this is one of the best tips I can always give anybody when you're doing a draft, right? When you actually get ready to do a draft, do not hone in on one player, okay? What I would encourage you to do is literally go ahead and set your queue based upon your tier as to what it is that you want to do. So that way, when somebody does that, they jump in front of you or they snake you, you can already have a plan. The worst thing that can happen to you is to get on the clock, your guy goes, and now you're in panic mode because you're going to draft somebody that you don't either A, like, or B, not have a game plan to actually move down, right? So for me, I'm always looking to move down to acquire additional assets, but I'm also counting out players within a tier. So if that tier is gone, then, hey, I already know 2 picks before that it's time for me to go ahead and move off this pick. If I got somebody there that I want and I love, I'm snatching them up immediately and going to go ahead about my business. So you want to always know where you're sitting at in the draft, so that way you can know how to win and how to move strategically.
Absolutely. So let's get to our 5th and final ones. I'll start with mine. It's really a 2-parter, but it's really short. One is going to be Kyle Phillips for the Tennessee Titans. I know I'm a Titans fan, but the reason I say Phillips is because they were talking this guy up like a weapon in the slot last year. And I mean, and the guy, if you looked at his training camp and his preseason, looked freaking amazing. He looked like he had been playing the slot for years. Looked like a veteran. Ended up having a bunch of soft tissue injuries that really kept him out. And then I think a concussion eventually kept him out for the whole year. So he was never able to really showcase that. I started really releasing him in a lot of places. And then when I started going over those old notes, I was like, well, can't overlook how amazing the guy was. And like I said, he's a riser for me because you can basically get him for free. Because you're getting them for free, and it's somebody who the national, let me not say national media, but a lot of people in the know said that, hey, this guy is going to be a major product in the slot, and the Titans decided, hey, we don't need a receiver. It makes me think that they believe strongly in Phillips. My other one is going to be Tank Dell, because I think his thing is how short he is. I know I got 2 guys here, but the thing is how short he is. But I think if the guy was 5 inches taller, he'd be a borderline first rounder. So I just think I'm just going with the talent here. I think there's just a little swing, somebody else you can get basically for free. Those are risers for me.
Okay. So next time you let me know if we do an honorable mention. But nonetheless, I'm on the Tank Dell train, and I keep grabbing them everywhere. I just got them in a 16 team league at the 3-2, and I did a cartwheel. I was like, I don't know what these guys are doing, but thank you so much. So anyway, my riser here for number 5 is going to be none other than Mr.
I didn't know that was you. I'm in that league too. I didn't know that was you.
It was me. I put the GIF out for him scoring a touchdown. I'm in Houston. I got a chance to see him at U of H. I'm a huge fan of Tank Dell. And what I love is CJ Stroud literally told the Texans to go get him. So I think they're going to have an amazing connection. Definitely get you some Tank Dell everywhere you can. But my guy, Kadarius Toney, he's the guy that I want to go get my hands on every which way in every league. Why is that? He has Tyreek Hill traits. He is super shifty. He's actually with Patrick Mahomes. He is the reason why you kind of see everything kind of open up a little bit differently in that Chiefs offense. They literally are salivating over this guy. Andy Reid can't stop talking about him. He has enormous potential. And what's crazy is he's going like in the 9th and 10th round of drafts. So there's a lot of mouths to feed. There's a lot of hype around a lot of receivers. Like every receiver that goes to Kansas City, there's some hype. Mm-hmm. But if he can actually emerge and actually be on the field, then his talent, that cream is going to always rise to the top. So get yourself some Kadarius Toney. I've been talking about it all off season long. And guess what, y'all? Now I'm getting sleeper updates, and Dev is jumping in front of me, making trades with me.
Won't let you get them.
No. I made a trade, and I knew Dev.
Toney, man.
I made a trade, and I knew Dev was going to take him, but it was too much value when we kind of walked through it. So I literally made a trade so we can go ahead and get him a share. But I have over 15 shares of Kadarius Toney, so I'm very excited about it.
And
yeah, my biggest thing with Toney is that I'm actually glad that you mentioned Toney, because now I don't have to decide which one of the two I have to go with for my 5th one here. If he can stay healthy, I love him. Mm-hmm. But he's got to stay healthy. True. So my 5th here is going to be another rookie, because I like this class of wide receivers, and he's going to a more than ideal spot is Quentin Johnson. Quentin Johnson, he's going to a Mike Williams, where Mike Williams, who's the other receiver?
Keenan Allen.
Yeah, Keenan Allen's 31. I don't, and I think it was Raz that said earlier, they're stingy. They don't want to pay these guys. They're getting older, they're declining. And Justin Herbert he needs to get some new targets in there. And I think Quentin Johnson is, I think he's the number 2 wide receiver in this draft behind JSN, but the only reason he falls down is because it's going to take time when they decide they want to get rid of Keenan Allen, when they decide they want to get rid of, the receivers there. But I'm buying him if I get the opportunity to. I may be buying him a little more than others, but as far as ADP goes, but I think he's going to be a second-year breakout. I don't think he'll break out the first year, but definitely the second year if they decide that they're going to get rid of their receivers there.
I love Quentin Johnson, especially on that team. And I definitely think he's going to get some run, because I think that Mike Williams and between Mike Williams and Allen, they'll probably miss some time. So I definitely think he's going to get run there. And I think he's better than Palmer. What's his name?
Yeah, Joshua Palmer.
Josh Palmer. Yeah, I think he's better than Palmer. So I love him there, because he's with a quarterback that's going to get the most out of him. Look at his face. Just look at his face, y'all. Look at him.
All right, guys. I'm on record. I'm the CEO of Quentin Johnson is a bum fan club. Okay. And I'm not saying that because I don't believe he can be successful. He literally is now in the best situation for him to potentially be successful in the league.
Mm-hmm.
He went to Justin Herbert. He has 2 declining asset receivers out there. I believe this is literally the last year in
You see what happens when he's wrong.
Charger Land.
Every time.
Every time. So here we go. Mike Williams or Keenan Allen is going to be out of here at the end of the season. So I agree with Dev. If this going to happen for him, it's going to actually be within that second year where I kind of see that breakout potentially happening. But he has to become a hands catcher because he catches too much with his body. And that's always concerning for me for receivers. And I think he's kind of making it with his athletic ability where I didn't see elite route running. In that TCU scheme, he didn't actually have to run a full route tree.
True.
So there's definitely some things that I want to see him improve upon. But, rooting for him as a person, but just not somebody that I'm really buying.
And another thing to add on to that is, was it Keenan Allen or Mike Williams last year who had that injury, the back injury?
Like they both just always injury prone. Them dudes, man.
So it could even be a breakout this year. Injuries.
I think he's gonna. I'm not gonna say breakout, but I definitely think he's gonna have a good playing time this year. I think that's gonna happen this year. I think Quentin Johnson was great. Sheelor has been notoriously wrong today, so so that's not always happens to Sheelor. You know what I'm saying? He just had an off day. We all have.
Never happens to me. If you watch the intro, it says Sheelor, the numbers guy.
Yeah, we might have to change that. Hey, everybody, listen, we appreciate you guys for hanging out with us tonight. That was our top 5 Razzman receivers. We got a little long-winded there, but listen, hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you learned something from it and you take something from it. Hopefully we pointed you to somebody that might be able to help you out this season. Hey, appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Hey, like and subscribe. Dynasty Overload Podcast. I want to thank Sheelor and Mr. Dev for hanging out with us. Hey, listen, guys, you have a good one.